know that half of all high school students are already having sex, most of them before their senior year? Wouldn't it frighten you to know that the number of teenagers getting pregnant and getting sexually transmitted diseases, such as the deadly AIDS virus, is on the rise? And what do you want to do about this problem? I'd like for you to welcome the members of the rock group Ransak. They are a local group, and their lyrics are about what's going on with young people today. One of their most controversial songs is about safe sex, and it's called Deathbed. Please welcome Chris, Danny, John, and Jim, the members of Ransak. Danny, you wrote the lyrics to this song. Why did you write it?
I've been hearing on the news a lot lately, a lot more people catching AIDS. And it's really all real dumb reasons they're catching it because they're just not careful. And then the Kimberly Burgels really did me in. And I really got mad about that, so I just had to write a song about it.
Mm-hmm. And when you sing this song in local clubs, what's the response from the kids? Sometimes they say, oh, I don't listen to lyrics, I just listen to the music. Do they listen? Are they responding? What do you hear back from them?
Well, they like the fact that we give them free condoms because they don't have to go and pay for them because they're very expensive. So.
Okay, let me show you what they pass out at their concerts. It's a packet like this. Says Florida AIDS Hotline 1-800-FLA-AIDS, and there are condoms inside. Where did you get the idea to give out the condoms free at the concerts?
Well, when I grew up in Sanford, Maine, in Maine, way up there, me and the friends in school used to get a gag out of going to this family planning place where they hand out free birth control and free condoms and so on and so on. And we used to get it, you know, they give you a whole bag of condoms, and we used to go down there and get them. And I basically thought about it there, and then I went to the state and asked them.
And so do you throw them out in the audience? Do you pass them out?
No, we don't like to throw them because, you know, then there's a chance they'll get stepped on and they won't get used. We like to hand them to people personally.
And what sort of response are you getting from teenagers?
People love it.
Taking them?
They love it. They're like, give me more, give me more. And we have people calling us on the phone, I want some more condoms down here.
Tell me about the teenager who called you after one night when he picked up the condoms at one of your concerts.
Okay, this is kind of weird. We didn't actually talk to him. He left a message on a machine. And he's very serious. He was just thanking us and saying that it was at the State Theater show, and he had sex with someone that night, and he used one of our condoms. And the only reason he used it because it was free. And the thing that's tricky about it is he used a condom, but he found out a couple weeks later that that girl had genital herpes. So he was real thankful because he was safe because he used our condom. Real happy.
And he wouldn't have used one if it wasn't for if he wouldn't have given it to him.
Because he said they were so expensive.
Do any of the members of the group feel like maybe this isn't your place to be passing out condoms to people, that maybe they should be talking to their parents or getting them from school or health officials or whatever?
No, not at all. We're a rock group. We're here to help the world, you know.
We're reaching our crowd, you know, our age.
Yeah, a lot of
group,
kids look up to, like, if they see a band they like, they listen to the message they're sending, and we're sending a message saying, you know, sex, I mean, if you're gonna have it, be safe while you're doing it. Don't be stupid.
You say that some of the kids tell you that's the only place they would be able to get them, or they wouldn't want to buy them, or they would be embarrassed. This is an easier way for them to get them, in your opinion?
Yeah, still, when we go, you know, the girls are more touchy with, they want a free condom. Some of them are like, you know, scared. They might want to take them, but they're embarrassed. You know, but still, we're pushing it, and since they see all the other people around the crowd taking them, they're more apt to take them. Because a lot of people don't like to go in stores and buy them, because they feel stupid.
Yeah. I'd like for you, if you would, for the audience and for the audience at home, to go ahead and play a couple of the verses of your song, Deathbed, because the lyrics are all about safe sex and the seductress, which I'm assuming is AIDS and sexually transmitted diseases. Go ahead, if you would, and let's hear this.
There we go.
Do it. Excuse me there, my lady, I'm looking for a good time. Just a $50 to Stacy, and she'll also take a life. Hello, my name is Stupid, may I take you home? Will you ride my Cupid, so you won't die alone? Pick your little woman and pray she isn't loaded. but maybe you're the chosen to get put and exploded. Come to me, she said. Welcome to your deathbed. Lipstick says you're dead. Welcome to your deathbed. Come to me, she said. Welcome to your deathbed. Lipstick says you're dead. Welcome to your deathbed. She said, come to me, I want you to shove me a good time. Well, I'm the one that's been used till I find my line. Turn your mind the other way, went right through her minefield. Mark my words this very day, till you see how dying feels. Pick your little woman and pray she isn't loaded, but maybe you're the chosen to get put and exploded. Come to me, she said. Welcome to your deathbed. Lipstick says you're dead. Welcome to your deathbed. Come to me, she said. Welcome to your deathbed. Lipstick says you're dead. Welcome to your deathbed.
Those are the lyrics, Deathbed. Basically, the message of this song to you is that AIDS is deadly, and in the feminine, she, being AIDS, will kill you. Is that the message?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's just not just female, it's males also. I mean,
It's not more of a preaching song. It's more of gets the audience involved. Like, yeah, this sounds good, and then it just slaps you at the end.
Yeah.
So it kind of burns the message in.
Welcome to your
Because we don't want to
deathbed.
preach people, because, you know, that's what our rock and roll is all about. We just want to let people know, hey, this is dangerous. We care about you.
Bottom line. That's what we're at.
Well, it might not surprise you that not all parents are excited about the idea
No.
of you
No.
giving out this message. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to meet a minister here in town who says that condoms should be regulated just like cigarettes and alcohol, and maybe they should not be so easy to get for young people. We'll be right back.
Sports with the Bay Area's most experienced sportscaster. And wake up weather from Florida's #1 meteorologist. Don't wait till midnight. Watch Frank Robertson and Kelly Ring on Eyewitness News tonight. It's coverage you can count on at 11.
Let me just give you a couple of statistics here. By the end of this day, in this country, over 7,000 teenagers will become sexually active. Almost 3,000 girls will become pregnant by the end of this day in this country, and over 600 teenagers will get syphilis or gonorrhea. Florida is the third in the nation in pediatric AIDS, meaning from age 1 up to in their 20s, I suppose. Let's take this phone call. Linda in Tampa. Go ahead.
Yes, it's my feeling that I think we ought to go back to the old-fashioned ways, and I'm not that old, but I just kind of think that if you hand somebody something like the keys to a car or a condom to go and do something, that they're more liable to go ahead and try something, even if they had never anticipated on doing it or was afraid to, they might just go ahead and do it.
And what about the ones who are already sexually active? What should we do about that?
I think you ought to educate them. I think what you ought to do, because my children were in school and they were teaching them how to put condoms on, I think you ought to show them what venereal disease really looks like on the body. I think you ought to show them what an abortion really does to a child, and I think you ought to show them what AIDS really looks like on someone dying. I mean, these kids want to grow up and they want to be adults at an early age. Okay, let's open their eyes and show them what this thing really is, and it's really lousy. The whole thing is a lousy.
Let me introduce Reverend Wilkins Garrett Jr. He is with the Mount Zion Progressive Baptist Church, and also Billy Price is with us. She is a nurse with the HRS Pasco County Health Department. Chris, where do you get the condoms?
State through HRS.
So, Billy, my assumption is that there is a reason that HRS has decided to support this sort of effort.
It is. It's to prevent the spread of this infection, so we hand them out.
What do you think about this, Reverend Garrett?
When I was a boy, parents expected us to be abstinent, and children tend to try to meet their parents' expectation, and so there was sexual disease and teenage pregnancy, but not on the scale we're seeing it now. In the late 60s and 70s, sex education, which included what the caller talked about, condoms being taught, I think that you can trace the sharp rise in teenage pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, to the promotion of so-called safe sex. It really is safer sex. It's not safe because if one condom breaks and somebody dies, that's not safe. I think that safer sex is not good enough when a life is at stake.
You're saying that promotion of safe sex with condoms is actually increasing the incidence of pregnancy
the incidence of teenage pregnancy and disease is on the rise. I think HRS can substantiate that every year. The more we promote it, because what we actually say when we promote it is that we expect for you, we believe that you're going to have sex anyway. And that philosophy is ludicrous. It's like saying, we know teenagers are going to drink, so let's provide some safe drinking places for them. We know that people are going to smoke crack, so let's produce it in doses that won't kill them.
Okay. Oh, what you're saying, you can't stop it. History's already laid its course. We can't go back in time and retract things to try to change it. It's not talking about it. What the band's doing is saying is that they care. You're saying you don't care by trying to tell kids not to do something.
No, I'm saying that when sex education began, we can trace that to the rise of teenage pregnancy and disease. HRS statistics will uphold that statement. Sex is a lot like drugs. When marijuana, and let me just finish this, when marijuana came out and I smoked it in the 60s, they said it was safe. What they didn't say was that you can control marijuana, but that after a while marijuana won't be enough and you'll end up doing things that will control you. Sex is just like that. When you start out, you might start out with a condom, but because of the heat of passion, the sexual drive is one of the strongest drives we have. There will be times once you get started when you will not worry about whether you have a condom or not. As he said, the kid said, I'm having sex anyway, but you gave me a condom. I didn't have the money for it. So he's having sex. It's just that he gave him a condom. The sex drive is so strong that you'll do it even if you don't have the money. It takes over you.
Well, let me
All
ask,
of us are
Chris, why don't you address what he says by saying that you're actually encouraging them to go ahead and have sex by passing out condoms?
No, we're not encouraging anybody to have sex. You know, I talk to people and I hand them out personally when I just go for promo shots and stuff like that. And I say, you know, I'd rather you not have sex, you know, because it's safer not to have it at all. But if you're going to do it, here, use a condom. Because I care. I mean, okay, great, you can say, maybe we're promoting sex, maybe it comes across like that in the statistics, but, you know, we're not dealing with just a little disease. I mean, this is killing people, period.
Okay, you spoke earlier about that kids are afraid to go get them, that you're scared, they're embarrassed. Well, sex is a very mature decision. It's something that you have to be grown up about. There's a lot more consequences than AIDS or pregnancy. Let's talk about the emotional disturbance these young girls go through, and these boys drop them the next day. Why don't we educate kids to be more mature, to be grown up? Because if they're not grown up enough to go into a store and pay their own money for their own condoms, they're not grown up enough to have sex. And I fully believe it.
Well, they're doing it anyway.
They're doing it anyway.
Yes, they are.
Well, hey, people are out there taking drugs and dying. They're doing it anyway. Who cares if they're doing it anyway? They're not grown up. You're not telling me that a 12-year-old kid...
Yeah, they're not grown up and responsible enough to know...
You won't give a 12-year-old
that they can
a
catch
license
something,
to
so
let
we
them
give them a
have sex?
condom, so because they're not responsible enough to take the responsibility to say, I might catch something, so we give them a condom and help them be responsible.
Are you taking the responsibility for the ones that you give? I've got a 12-year-old. When my stepbrother was 12 years old, he was handed a condom through his school. And you know what it gave him? It didn't say, wow, I've got protection. It meant, hey, I can go fool around. You give a kid a gun, they can do two things.
Okay, I know, you're all heated up here. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back and we'll continue this.
Choice for your health care.
Okay, we're talking about safe sex. The group Ransak sings about safe sex and passes out condoms at their concerts, and we have quite a discussion going here about that. Stand up, if you would.
Hi, I'm Steve. Maturity, I don't know how many of us really were mature when sex was introduced into our life. I know it wasn't in mine. I think it's a good protection, a good alternative. I think kids are going to do what they reason out in their own head to do, And just because they have a rubber, I don't think that's going to make them go have sex. But if they do decide that way, they are protected.
Okay. Who wants to speak?
I'm thinking that there's a lot of kids that are just too embarrassed maybe to buy a condom, and this is a good way for them to get them. And also, who started all this sex in the first place, Reverend? You might find that in the Bible.
God has no problem with sex. God says sex within marriage, but whether you believe that or not, I don't know of anyone who started having sex and stopped unless they had problems with impotence. And the fact of the matter is, those who start with sex, even if they start with a condom, no one here that's adult involved in sex can say that they consistently use the condom every time. The deal is once you start, you never stop, and if there comes a time where you don't have one and you're in the heat of passion, you're going to do it anyway. So the best protection is don't start until you get a wife or a husband, and stay with that wife and husband, and that's safe. You never have to worry about AIDS.
That'd be real nice to follow if everybody actually would follow that, but we're dealing with today, and just about everybody is having sex before they're married. It's an ugly thing, but it's happening.
That's because of expectation. Kids rise to the expectation. I expect my daughters to remain absent. I have 4 of them. I have 170 children watching this program right now. I say to them, I expect for you. I'm not giving you a condom. And then I think it's an insult to say to children, oh, we know you can't hold out anyway. Why not? Other people can hold up. So I tell them you're valuable, you're strong, you have discipline, you can follow rules, you can do what's right, and you can hold out. And that the consequences of not holding out, because if you get a condom, as I said, and you do it, you're not going to always have a condom in the heat of passion, and it only takes one time to get AIDS, one time to die. So I tell them, do it the right way, and you don't have to worry about that.
That's what you say, but they go to school.
Right.
And they have all these kids around them that they might like the one person.
So that's why parents of all of these kids need to be giving the same message.
Okay, but what do you do, though? What do you do, though? What do you do for children who are not told about sex by their parents? I took a survey during the break of how many were actually told by their parents about sex, given all the instructions before they were age 18. It was like less than a third of the audience. And I said, where'd the rest of you learn about sex? And they went, the streets. Everybody said the streets. So what do you do about kids who grow up in homes where the parents are not giving them this sort of information?
We cannot save the world. We do it in our church. We teach it starting from 3, 4, 5 years old because they're already hearing it. And so we try to teach the right way. These kinds of programs, I think we need to get the message out. There are some things that we left, what we call old-fashioned, that worked. Go look the statistics up. As I said 3 times before, you will find that sexual disease, teenage pregnancy, has been constantly rising since we have been promoting so-called safe sex.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back.
I just wanted to clarify something that the Reverend said earlier, that he feels as though sex is on the rise due to sex education. Is that what you said?
I think that sex before marriage has risen because people are promoting sex, saying you can do it in a safe way without any stipulation about morality or marriage. I think that because there's more sex, now there's more disease, more teenage pregnancy, which HRS statistics can prove that, and you can draw a sharp line.
Okay.
I've done the research.
Okay.
Well, I would just like to say that when I was growing up as a teenager, there was no such thing as sex education, and kids did experiment with sex. Fortunately, we didn't have the diseases that are here today. They're a lot more serious than they were then. We need to take a lot more action.
You had pregnancy, didn't you?
Abstinence is fine, but when a kid gets outside the door, you have no control.
Except they won't do it consistently.
Quick comment.
Have you ever considered, when you're passing out these condoms to children, their age that you give them to, and can't you give them a brochure on abstinence along with that?
Personally, I do.
You personally do what?
I say, you know, you should practice abstinence. It's much safer.
What?
We have never dealt with a 10-year-old child.
They're saying they're at concerts, they could be that young. How do you know what age you're passing them out to?
That's another...
I don't think
their
a concert
responsibility.
is the proper forum to pass out condoms. I just don't think that that's the right atmosphere that you want.
What do you think we should do?
School system, something with education.
Well, the
that
school
they
doesn't
can
have that
learn
much
more
money
about
now to
it.
do that.
If HRS can give it to them free, why can't they give it to another agency that's going to teach the children about it?
The school doesn't have enough money to do this.
Okay, Billy, go ahead, make a point.
Good. What I'd like to say is part of our main focus, and when the Surgeon General first came out with this, was our main focus was abstinence. But knowing human nature, the thing is what we're promoting is condoms not for safe sex, but for safer sex than not to use condoms at all. And if someone is interested in sex, they should have it.
Reverend, we're about to go to commercial, so I may let you go out on this, but you got about 10 seconds.
When human nature changed, was it in the 70s?
Yeah.
When human nature changed? Because pregnancy, which has nothing to do with disease, pregnancy, teenage pregnancy is going up with the access to condoms.
Larson, what's wrong?